how can I be more effective with my coaching clients? How can I continue to hone, refine, develop my skills and abilities so that when I am spending that time with them, that hour with them, or that day-long workshop or that half-a-day workshop, that, you know, every moment I can add some sort of value. I can bring something to the table that adds value to my coaching clients. You know, whether it's a group workshop or it's an individual one-on-one coaching appointment. So, and part of that is to have that growth mindset. Part of it is to constantly be growing. How are you growing yourself? How are you intentionally honing, refining, and developing your own strengths? Are you aware of your strengths? Do you know your strengths? Here's another huge one from an EQ perspective. How emotionally healthy are you? You know, because there are emotionally healthy versions of strengths, and there are emotionally unhealthy versions of all of our strengths. And again, I'm a perfect example. I can most of my life I've used my strengths have been coming from a place of emotional neediness and you know, an emotional unhealthiness versus a place of emotional healthiness and emotional maturity. Hey, what is going on, EQ gangsters? So, how much and what kind of value do you add to those around you? What kind of and how much value do you add to those around you? So, I am coming back from jiu-jitsu class right now, and one of the guys that I'm rolling with, he's one of my coaches. He's a purple belt. He's 29 years old. I've almost got him by 20 years, and he's 210, jacked. Now I'm probably 240 and fluffy. And he is prepping for a tournament. He's getting ready to do a tournament in about a month. And so today we did what's called a super fight in the gym and this guy's name is John, super guy. I've talked about him before, actually multiple times in multiple episodes of my podcast. His name is John Roy. He is the co-creator, co-host of the Mentor podcast. Actually, it's called Mentor Podcast on Spotify. And he has taken me under his jiu-jitsu wing and really has been game changer. Well, he's been rolling significantly longer than me, much more technical than me. And it was me and this other guy named Eric, another super dude, former 82nd guy as well. What? Airborne all the way. And he's also a purple belt, and he's a big guy as well. So it's the three of us, me, Eric, and John. And our professor Marcelo, he set us up where John rolled with Eric for 3 minutes, starting from standing and then going to the ground. And then after 3 minutes of rolling with Eric, then John rolled with me for 3 minutes. And John has got a ridiculously hard guard to pass. It's called the guard. It's a position in jiu-jitsu. And he plays kind of, it's called a Z guard. And not to get into the weeds here, but one of his frames, for those of you that are semi-familiar with jits, this will make a little sense. For those of you that are not, just bear with the analogy here. I'll get down to the point of the episode. And he has this particular move that he does, and again, we'll just call it Z guard, where he frames the opponent up with his knee and his arm. And literally just with those two frames, he shuts down my entire game. I for the entire 3 minutes, I don't know how to pass his guard. And at one point I told him, I'm like, John, just let me get on top. Because again, he's training for this tournament. Because I'm semi decent. Obviously that's relative because obviously he's a purple belt, but the strongest part of my game is my pressure game when I can be on top, which would give him more of a challenge than if he just holds me in one spot for 3 minutes, which is basically what he did. And it just so here's my takeaway again, how much value do you add to those around you? What kind of value do you add to those around you? So I get that, there are not many people that are my size that do jujitsu, so it's tough. John he's got a very limited portfolio of people that can give him any kind of challenge. But that's kind of what I left with, is like, I'm no competition for him. Granted, I am bigger than he is, so okay, yeah, I'm this big guy, but my technique is nowhere where his technique is. And so it just really convicted me and challenged me, like, well, crap, man, I have to continue to get better and improve so that I can be a better training partner for guys like John who are phenomenal. And because I'm like, I don't feel like he got any kind of training value out of rolling with me, because again, I literally could do nothing against him. I could not, for an entire 3 minutes, I just sat there and yeah, against his knee and his arm, trying to move, wiggle, and do anything, and I couldn't do anything. So how, so again, apply that principle to life. How can you add, more value to those around you? And then what kind of value? What do you bring to the table? So the good thing is, okay, I got it that I bring size to the table with my buddy John in this scenario, but I'd also like to start bringing more technique to the table as well, so that it's not just a big guy that he rolls against, that he just does whatever he wants to against, but a big guy that can give him a little bit of a challenge, again, to hone and refine and develop his skills as well. So think about it from a marriage perspective. What do you bring? What value do you bring to the marriage? What strengths do you bring? How intentional are you at bringing strengths and value to the marriage and relationship? Another one is, this is another big one. I did this with one of my coaching clients recently, is how much value are you bringing out of the other person, right? Again, in this scenario, rolling with John, I was not bringing the best out of John because he only had to do one move and he had me neutralized. So I literally was not challenging not even 1% of his repertoire. So I was not bringing the best out of him. So how can I, obviously in jiu-jitsu, how can I do a better job of bringing the best out of John and my training partners in jiu-jitsu, but also in life and my coaching clients? How can I be more effective with my coaching clients? How can I continue to hone, refine, develop my skills and abilities so that when I am spending that time with them, that hour with them, or that day-long workshop or that half-a-day workshop, that, every moment I can add some sort of value. I can bring something to the table that adds value to my coaching clients. Whether it's a group workshop or it's an individual one-on-one coaching appointment. So, and part of that is to have that growth mindset. Part of it is to constantly be growing. How are you growing yourself? How are you intentionally honing, refining, and developing your own strengths? Are you aware of your strengths? Do you know your strengths? Here's another huge one from an EQ perspective. How emotionally healthy are you? Because there are emotionally healthy versions of strengths, and there are emotionally unhealthy versions of all of our strengths. And again, I'm a perfect example. I can most of my life I've used my strengths have been coming from a place of emotional neediness and an emotional unhealthiness versus a place of emotional healthiness and emotional maturity. And so some thoughts, really good thoughts, is because, and what are some things you can be world class at? What are some strengths that you have that you can really develop into a world class strength that not only can you impact those around you, but maybe you could impact, your neighborhood, or a few folks in your church, or folks in your business, your community, your military unit, your squad, your company, your battalion. But man, please be careful about thinking that you've arrived in any area, marriage, relationships, parenting, leadership, finances, faith, anything. Be careful. And man, there's so many amazing things to learn and grow and change, and seek that out. Seek out, Proverbs, man, I want to say it's chapter 4. Proverbs chapter 4 talks about seeking after wisdom like it's treasure, like it's legit, like treasure. So how would you seek after hidden treasure? It'd be exciting, adventure, fun, thrilling. You'd be enthusiastic, you'd be encouraged, you'd be motivated, inspired, right? Is that how you look at wisdom, going after wisdom the same way? The better that I can be personally and professionally, again, the more value I'm going to be able to add to everyone else around me. Proverbs 27:17 says, iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another, one person sharpens another. How sharp is your sword? How sharp is your blade? Franklin Covey, I don't know what I was thinking of, but Franklin Covey, 7 habits of highly effective people. The seventh habit is sharpening the saw, always honing, refining, growing, sharpening your saw, so that you can, again, bring the best value to the table as possible, adding value to your spouse, adding value to your children, adding value to your coworkers, your company, your staff, your organizations that you are leading and responsible for. So anyway, that's my thing for today, the message for the day. For those of you all, again, that want to check out and grow in your EQ in a fun, helpful, safe, supportive community, go to eqgangster.com/mafia, eqgangster.com/mafia, so you can get on that list for when we open that membership up. We have tons of content in there. They're going to add a lot of value, to you guys. And remember, unaddressed emotional issues don't get better over time. They actually compound. If you don't deal with your emotional issues, your family will, your friends will, your colleagues will, your coworkers will. Emotionally healthy people help heal other people emotionally.